So in conclusion, always look at what the client is offering, and if something that is affordable or the practice can estimate, go for fixed pricing. Okay, we've talked about performance business, so I'm not going to repeat that. Okay. Another thing I want to talk about here is effective pricing, how to negotiate to get more. How to negotiate to get more. One of the things we offer is, we talk about is to sell multiple products, to sell more than one product. So if you have a client that you're servicing, try and see if you can sell additional products to that one client. Additional products to that one client. For instance, schoolers, teachers. I had a client who once said, I supply uniform. I said, then you can supply other things to the school, not just uniforms. You can supply, there might be other suppliers, because you are supplying one element, you might be able to supply others. Even though some schools will say, once you are supplying one line, don't supply others. So once you are supplying one thing, you can supply several things. So sell multiple products to the client, offer discounts, and we have things like buy one, get one and half price. And then there are bundle products, which we say you can have to make it attractive for clients to buy more. They may not need as much, but it makes it attractive to buy them. Say, for instance, a product has a unit price of 5,000 naira. So that's the unit price of one. And what you tend to find is, if you look at this one, it says one product 5,000, 5 products 20,000. So at 20,000, the price drops to 4,000 each. Now, the difference between 5 products and 7 products is very marginal. So, and if you look at the price, it's 21,500 and 20,000. So somebody might say, why should I spend 20,000 buying 5 products when I can spend 21,500 buying 7? So you use this as a pricing strategy to sell more, because in these 3 options here, people are likely to buy the last option a lot more. Why? At least buy it a lot more than the 7 products. But if you buy, than the 5 products. If you buy 5 products, it's 20,000. If you buy 7 products, it's an additional 1,000 or 1,500. So you end up selling more. So this will only work if you have worked out your retail costs, your production cost. If your production cost is 3,000 as your senior, is a loss. But if it's something like 2,000 to 2,999, you would always make some profit on that. And then the more you sell, the more your margin will be. So these are some pricing methods that you can use to negotiate to sell more. We say sell more, selling more for your products. When you charge high prices, you can charge high prices, but your risk, you are incurring more risk. But how do you mitigate against that? You can have longer exposure. Say, for instance, let me call up my board now. I'll give you an example of what we did in recruitment. I've shared it with some of you before. So basically, we introduced, we were able to get away with charging high prices in recruitment because the average recruitment fee per candidate when we started was 10% of the candidate's annual salary. Just the first year, not every year. First average, first salary. So if we recruit somebody and then the salary was say 20 million, we recruit somebody, then our fee would be 2 million. Yeah, based on the 10% at the arrangement. So 10%, so you collect a fee. However, we introduce higher fees by asking for 15, at the time I asked for 17.5%. access 0.5% of the 20 million. Let me try and work that one out. But for the sake of time and to make this easier, let's just use 15%. Then the fee is 1.5 or 1.5 million. No, sorry, 10%. So what am I doing? Yeah, 175. I think 175 or something. Sorry. Somewhere around there. Yeah. Let me calculate it. 15% of 200, 15 times 20 million, is it? Oh, sorry. What am I doing? You guys didn't say anything. That's 3 million. Okay. Now, how do we charge a higher fee when everybody is charging 10%? Is this simple? Number one, like I said, remember what I said here? If you're taking a higher risk, you're taking a higher risk. And what is the risk? We say to the client, pay over 1 year. Yeah. Remember, in this case, once you've done the recruitment, month one, the guy starts, they pay you, you go away, which is the good thing about this. But clients began to complain that, okay, what if you recruit somebody for us and they're not good and they go away, or we are paying you 2 million? What do we do? Do we start all over again? Most times that money was gone. It was for the recruited candidate. Candidate is not good. Candidate has not come in or is not performing well. The client has paid this 2 million for that candidate, and that's it. Now, the option that we brought to market is, okay, you know what? We will charge you more. However, you can pay over 1 year. And then within that 1 year, we make sure that if the client leaves, the person recruited, the person leaves, we will replace. So those are guarantees. If the person leaves, we will replace the candidates at no charge. So this gives clients the confidence that, yes, we're paying 15%, but we are sure. And so for us, because we are charging over 1 year, we have to ensure we get the best fit. Because if we get a wrong fit, our fee here is at stake. Okay? So you can actually charge more. You can actually charge more than what is the norm, but then your risks are greater. You're offering variable terms. Variable terms can be when you ask people to pay at different terms, maybe you tie to a deliverable, variable terms, or you offer guarantees that irrespective of get your money back, or you are covered that you will deliver these services, you use a guarantor, all those kind of things. So in this case, you can charge more than the normal average price. Okay, any questions before we go on? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions, any comments? Any questions? Okay. Okay. Now, contracts. You need a very good contract to protect all the agreements. And within that contract, you may want to put your payment terms, the agreed costs, the payment stages, payment terms, if there are disputes. How do you deal with that? We can see in this contract here, scope of work and out of scope. There are two different things. Most times, if you define the scope of work, you must also define the out of scope, the agreed costs. What's the cost for the project, irrespective of the type of costing you have agreed. Okay, these are different costs. You must state the type of costing in the contracts, and then sign-offs and payment stages, payment terms, all very, very critical in your project. We mentioned this earlier, the payment guarantees, staged payments, tie payment to delivery. Each deliverable is a dependent, link payment to live projects, to project cycle or sign-off. Always link payments to life cycle, project cycle, or the sign-offs. And ensure your payments come in before the project ends. Because once the project ends, you are the liberty of the client. But before the project ends, the client is at your liberty. So please always ensure that you get your fees before payment. There's an example here of a different structured payment arrangements that we use. For the initial briefing, of course, we don't charge. For the first diagnostics reports, try and see if we can get some money in at this stage. At times, it's always bigger than this. It tends to give us 30%, but that is not the rule. So in this case, this is how we break it down, so that at any point in time, look at implementation here. You have done all this, and the says, now think about it. What happens to all this money? So we started adding a certain percentage for all of that, even recommendation before the implementation. So these payments, these percentages are paid at agreed stages in the life cycle of the project. Okay. Okay, any question, please? We're nearly done. So let me just take a few questions. Any questions, please? We're good. Okay, Muhammad, yeah?
Yes, yes,
Mohammed, yes, a question to you.
Okay.
So I'm going to, yeah, Mohammed.
My question is, the charges you are talking about, let's say 10%, is it going to be monthly or for the year, for the financial year you are working with the client?
Again, it depends on the project. If intervention is a one-off, the client
okay,
says,
one-off.
It just depends. If it's one-off, you just charge one-off.
Okay.
Yeah? But if the savings you make, you see, the project can be one-off, but then the savings you make can be repetitive. And I'll give you an example. A client comes to you and says, we are spending, I had a client once who said they were spending 12 million every month. But he could not pinpoint the value for that 12 million. That we should look at it. Is he getting value for money for that 12 million? Now, by the time we looked at it back and forth, after 1 month's assignment, we realized that that monthly bill should never be more than 9 million. Now, that means going forward and into perpetuity for whatever amount of time, it's going to be saving 3 million every month. But for the sake of the project, we said, okay, we're going to save you 3 million times 12 months. That's 36 million that you will have paid without us coming in and doing this intervention. So we base that percentage on that 36 million that is going to save for the next 12 months. Do you understand? So even though it's a one-off project, but because the savings is recurring, and it won't make that savings just 1 month, it's going to be every month. So if it's a percentage savings of that month, because another month you can go to 12, another month, but you don't want to go to 12. And so that's as a consultant, if you are doing something like that, and you have agreed that that savings, for every savings for the next 12 months that is below a certain amount, you get XYZ. You go back to make sure that they're doing what you intended. Otherwise, if it goes back to that 12 million again, you don't get cover. Okay? So it depends on the what you have agreed with the clients. Yeah. Is that okay, Mohammed?
It's okay. It's okay. Thank you.
All right, Tony. Which of the things?
It's Tony Akpan.
Yes.
So my question is actually when you've played into the trap of not getting payments sorted out and the job is completed. my experience is sometimes the contract is actually specifying that payments is made after satisfactory completion of the assignment or when the report has been accepted. So eventually the delays set in, and then you're having to ask, so has the report been accepted? But you can notice that beyond just accepting, they're already implementing some of your recommendations. So how do you deal with that subsequently, such that you don't play yourself out of the competitive market, but at the same time you get paid for every job?
Okay, thank you. I showed you something here. Thank you. Whereby for every aspect of the project, you get paid. It may be not be much, but at least if at the end of the day, okay, that's it. So you can see this here. So from the beginning of the project, negotiate that you start getting paid. Because in consulting assignments, more than 50% of consulting assignments get stuck at this stage. They simply say to you, we'll come back to you. And in your own case, it says you will come back to you, and they've gone around your back to implement it. But guess what? If you had collected all of this, most credible companies don't have a problem paying you upfront. It's not a problem. So at that point, when they're saying they're coming back to you, maybe it's at this point or at this point. If it's at option and recommendation, you are collected as much as you can. So what most people do is they don't collect anything, and then the recommendation is said to you, will come back to you, and they never do. And so that ends there. That's a wasted effort. Okay? This is where, I mean, there's very little you can do once you finish the assignment and you have submitted it, unless you can resort to legal action. But before you get that far, there are certain things you can do when, I mean, at the early stages when you're negotiating with the clients. Do your due diligence and all of that. And one minute, please. Do your due diligence about the company, their history, their payment record, so that you don't become part of the people that they owe. Okay? So at some point, you have collected money. It's not something that is very popular, but increasingly companies are looking at this as a way of paying people. Okay? So late payments and arrears, leverage your service against payments is very, very, very crucial. If you're doing a 10-month project, over that 10-month period, stagger how much you get paid, maybe monthly. Yeah. Don't wait until the end of the month before you ask for to get paid. Okay? Don't do that. So leverage your service against payments. You've done this service, you get paid. You've done this service, you get paid. At least there are deliverables that you can see. So likewise here, tie payments to tie payments to deliverables. So at every point in time that deliverables are being delivered in the timeline of the project, ask for payment. Okay, ask for payment. Okay. Guarantees, again, payment guarantees. Okay, ask for guarantees that, hey, at the end of this exercise, you will pay us. Ask for guarantees. These are useful documents you can have in case you have to go to court, which is a long, I mean, it's an unwelcome alternative because it defends clients, it destroys clients' customer relationship. So I always try and avoid that. And the other thing some people do is they accept positive payments from their clients. They look, will you be able to make some positive payments? And then, like I said, seek legal redress. There's what they call early withdrawal of service. So basically, count your losses. Once you see that payment is not coming through, withdraw your services. Payment is not coming through. I know it's very, very difficult. You're not sure they're going to pay you. They might even pay you, but you're withdrawing your services. So you have to play it by the hair. And then there's another one which I call the debt clearance payments, which increasingly which we are using. I'll just share with you. Yeah, let me try to get this. Yeah, that's it. I'm trying to get the product. This is the last thing I want to show to us. So if someone owes us maybe client owes 20 million. Okay. 20 million. We could negotiate for half. You could negotiate. You could negotiate for half and have written off. Okay, you can negotiate for half and have the rest written off. So what you are doing is instead of 20 million loss, total loss, it is now 10%. Okay, you can negotiate for half and have the rest written off. So 20 million is total, it's only 10 million, which is, yeah. Does that make sense, guys? You could do that. Okay, so that ends my presentation. Let's take questions. Anything you're not familiar with? I know it's a lot to take in. It's a lot to take in, but okay. Yes, questions. Questions, please. Questions. All right, okay, let me switch it around. Your learning takeaways, what are your learning takeaways this morning? Mr. Prince Gabriel, are you there? Prince Gabriel Parofaro today, please tell us what your learning takeaways are this morning. Mr. Prince Gabriel Faro today, tell us what your learning takeaways are this morning. While I'm waiting for that, Tony, can you start? Can we start with you then? Tony, your learning takeaways, what have you learned?
Lovely. Good afternoon. Oh, it's still morning. Lovely session, sir. So many things that I'm taking away. The first one is learn to know how to charge per hour. That I've definitely not done, and so I'm looking forward to doing that. Then the different ways, the different types of pricing, but the different ways to break down the agency fee such that it doesn't look like, you're charging so much when everything has been summed together and listed as agency fee. So I got creative means of how to break it down in such a way that it becomes like value adding and matching my proposition to say that I'm adding value to the process. Then the last bit is how to ensure that I get paid, so not leave the payment at the foot of the client, try to think it through and ensure that I get some payments, so I'm not waiting to the very end. So it's part of the negotiation, and it's also part of presenting my brand so that it doesn't look like they get everything, they get the very best, and then I'm having to beg them to get my payments after. Yes, some clients are credible, they can pay the money. Like the UN, they can pay the money, but they end up owing for months.
Yeah.
And it is because of the way negotiation has taken place. So
Exactly.
thank you
Because
so very much. I enjoyed it.
Because they can get away with it.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Good feedback. Thank you. Toyin Sam. Toyin Sam.
Hello, sir.
How are you?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Fine, sir. Hello, namesake. This is Akman. Okay, yes. For me, what really caught my attention is it's more or less like a refresher, and there are quite some of the things that have been discussed during our wholesome class. However, the part that I really found very interesting was the charging principles. Principles are, for me, principles are timeless ways of doing things. They work irrespective of tribe, irrespective of location. And so for me, I'm holding on to that to ensure that I have that not at the back of my mind, but right in front of me. And of course, I also like the fact that we're able to identify both the internal and external factors. So for the internal factors, those are things that are still controllable within our control, that we could find ways to maneuver around. And then for the external factors, that would help us to be proactive in decision making when it comes to pricing, when we have actually been able to identify that this is either an internal or an external factor. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Nancy, are you there?
Yeah, thanks for a great session, sir. For me, what really stood out was the payment schedules after sign-offs, because I'm currently getting into a contract with someone in Abuja, and I was wondering what to charge, how much percentage to charge as a diagnosis, and then the analysis, at each stage of the contract. So this really helped to clarify how I'll go about negotiating, as I get into that contract. Luckily, we've not even signed the papers yet, so this will really, really come in very handy in the negotiation. So I really appreciate the payment schedule after the sign off. Yeah.
Thank you, Nancy. Great feedback. Alima, are you still with us?
Yes, I am, sir. It's just that I had so much problem hearing you because of the network issue, and it was raining here, so it's bits and pieces. I couldn't hear you very well, but I think I can just maybe after the lecture get something. Well, it's something that I know that it's more or less like a kind of update to what I have learned from you, because the course we had the previous time, we discussed about this setting and negotiating, consulting, and on all that. And part of the things that I keep looking at and what prompted me to, even though I can't hear very well, is on the key pricing issue, because there are certain things that which I was made to understand with respect to that, most especially where you now, accept low fee at a discount. Well, sometimes people like to take advantage of you because you are looking for the business, and then something that you are giving at a fee, they cut it into 50% of that fee, and that's really, really, it's I don't know how to say it, but sometimes you just feel like not wanting to do it. But then when we look at the reality and the economy of our country, we now renegotiate that, because without that, I mean, there's nothing one can do. Most especially the public sector. You give them a quoting price and they cut it into two. So it's helpful, sir. Maybe I'll have to go back again to listen, because I couldn't hear most of your lectures today.
No, we record it, so it's recorded, and I'm going to post it to, for those of you, we're going to post it somewhere, so it's recorded, it's not a problem. Okay, thank you. Bola Shola, are you there?
Yeah, I am.
Okay,
Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you for joining us. Let's have your feedback.
Yeah, I want to quickly appreciate the fact that I'm part of this class. It's a good opportunity for me. I'm not a business person per se, but getting what I'm getting from here, I already started a business already before now. So I'm trusting God that with all of this knowledge, it's a really imparted knowledge. Above all, though there were in between the classes, there were one or two interruptions in terms of the network. But I'm sure that the little I got is really interesting and that impacted me a lot, especially the pricing and the timing and how maintaining your clients and all that. That's very important to know. And I'm glad I'm in this class. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Mr. Kaba, Alaji Kaba, Mohammed Kaba, are you there? Okay, John Andoma, are you there?
Are you calling Muhammad Kabir or who are you calling?
You are not answering me. Okay, Mohammed. Yes, Mr. Mohammed, let's listen to you.
Okay, you mean I should give my
Yes, please.
Actually, the class, or let me say the lecture is quite interesting. It gives me insight. Hello? It gives me insight into understanding how to go about pricing in the consulting industry. I'm just starting up and I'm trying to see how I can get it better. So it is actually engaging and really interesting. I appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for joining. Thank you very much. Pandoka. Oshem Emba.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Odaka Gerard Ushahumba. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This class has been a very wonderful one. Yes, sir. This class was a very wonderful. It was a very wonderful time I shared with you. You know, this has given me a lot of sense. So much that I went back in my brain thinking on how I started and the wrong pricing I was doing. I was going about my pricing and engagements with my clients. And I think along the line, I got to fall in place because of extensive reading and more consultations with other people on how these things work. But today I've gotten a very polished, more and elaborate way that I can go about my pricing. So it's a wonderful time being here. I don't think it's something that I can say I will regret. And I think taking you as a mentor will be a wonderful opportunity for me too.
No problem. Let's talk.
Thank you so much.
Let's talk beyond the class.
All right, okay.
Thank you. John.
It's okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, John. John.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir, Mr. John. Yes, sir.
Okay. Great pleasure being part of this wonderful section today. I think my take home has to go with the present schedule. If I had known this earlier around last year, it have also helped me in one of the deal I ran with someone. But I think it was a very good one, insightful and eye-opening. So thank you so much. The present schedule, which has also shown that in the commencements of discussion for consultancy, one can begin to get out some percentages depending on how the conversation goes at the long run, not to lose that completely.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate this section, and I hope to also leverage with the knowledge I've got and even subsequent interaction with the.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Prince, are you still there? Prince Gabriel. Prince Gabriel. Okay, all right. Thank you. Once more, we meet again next month.
Thank you so much.
A different topic altogether. If you are interested.
Of knowledge as regards the elections, as regards the line.
Right. Thank you. Thanks, John. I was saying that we'll meet again next month. If you're interested, we have the database. We'll send you the topic. Have a nice weekend. Enjoy yourself. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, sir. Thank you.
Bye.